hello there, and you join me on this beautiful sunny late January morning to review a car that may be familiar to some of you. We're going to look at a car that I used to own, one of these, and yeah, something belonging to a friend of mine that's very important to him and that's very important to the community. So yes, here we are with Matt Harrison, also known as Stickman TV's Rover Streetwise 1.4. Now, I know I've done Streetwise videos in the past on a 1.4 Streetwise that was a bit more modified than this, and of course there was a series on my own penny, the 2-litre diesel Streetwise. But I want to show you this car because it's got a lot of the rare, desirable trick bits. It's also got something special going on under the bonnet as well, because this one has been remapped and it's got rather a nice exhaust on it. So it's actually down with us for a couple of weeks, this car, because it's been having some love, and Matt wanted me to have the car for a couple of weeks to do some filming with it. So what we'll do, we'll have a wander around the car, we'll refresh all your memories about what a Streetwise is like and why they are such good cars, because if you're thinking about buying a Rover Streetwise as a second car or even a daily driver, these really are worth considering, because they're cheap, they're great to drive, they're very comfortable to drive. This one is used as a daily driver, so this is a car that Matt bought as a really low mileage example, something like 40,000 miles on it. It's now done 70, but for a 20-year-old car, that's a low mileage, believe me. So we'll grab the camera, we'll have a wander over the car just to refresh our memories. We'll look at some of the trick bits. Some of them you can already see. The eagle-eyed amongst you will already know what's a bit different with this car, and then we'll take it out for a bit of a spin. Yeah, so the car's not sitting on standing wheels. Obviously, these were called addendum alloys, so these are 17-inch wheels. Streetwises come on a standard 16-inch alloy or actual steelies as well, and the steelies do look quite nice, but they are definitely a rare sight. So this has got some refurbished smoke chrome, this colour's called. These are smoke chrome addendum alloys. These look great on Streetwises. These actually came on the Olympic edition, so there was an Olympic blue, it's a very, very nice colour, and these were a special kind of limited edition. But these are very desirable wheels, I've got a set of them myself, very sought after. They look good on Streetwises, 25s, ZRs. They're just a nice wheel. And these are particularly nice. They've been cleaned up. They've got where they're sporting some new Uniroyal tyres, which grip like anything. I've just driven it round here this morning a bit just to get the car warmed up, and let me tell you, those tyres are absolutely cracking. So if we have a look at the front of the car, we've got something a bit different going on here. So normally you don't have this appendage here, so this is like a bumper edition that has been painted up by Simon from Smashing Pistons and fitted by Simon from Smashing Pistons. So it just gives the car a bit more of an aggressive look. I think it really does work quite nicely. And the other thing that we can see is the headlights. Now, of course, Streetwises were launched, there were some before the 25 and ZR went over to the Mark II, but they're very rare. But normally, Rover of an 05 plate would have the single piece headlights. Streetwises, of course, have the twin headlamps, which is standard throughout the build life of these. But Matt has got the rather snazzy light protectors, which just self-tap into the bumper. So yeah, they make it look a bit different, bit individual, but also give it that urban on-roader group. And I'll draw your attention to a Facebook group, which is the Rover Streetwise Urban on-roader group, of which Matt is like the main man. So do go onto Facebook and check out that group. There's always Streetwise content on there. Streetwise is for sale. It's a really good group. So yes, that's our lovely alloy wheels, really nice. And our front end that's a bit different. We've got, obviously it is a Rover 25, but it's a bit different to a 25, a bit more interesting. If you think of a 25 from this period, yeah, some of them do look nice, but the late 25s are beginning to look a bit tired. The Streetwise is definitely a bit fresher. So I think the only trick bit that Matt hasn't got is the side skirt extension. So you can replace that plastic strip along there with something a bit meatier, but I've not seen one of those for sale, I have to say. But yeah, maybe Matt, if he spots one coming up, he'll do that. At the back we've got a couple of trick bits. We've got a ZR 160 spoiler. Now this colour, this is an interesting colour. It's ski blue, so it's a later Rover colour. You may remember on one of my very early videos I reviewed a Rover 75 Contemporary in this colour. But yeah, it's very close to Wedgwood, it's very close to Mirage 1 and Mirage 2, but this is actually ski blue, and when it is clean, really clean, it absolutely pops. So one of the other Streetwise owners, Richard Maddox, he's got a Streetwise in ski blue, and that also, it's just a really attractive colour. So it's got a ZR 160 spoiler, so normally the Streetwises just have the standard black plastic small spoiler, but again, Simon from Smashing Pistons has painted this one up in ski blue, and it just gives the car a much more sort of aggressive, sporty look, and it does work. ZR 160 spoiler on a Streetwise definitely works. We've got some more trick bits here. We've got the rear light protectors. These just bond on. You don't screw these on, they just bond on. I think these might have been, they probably weren't mine actually. Excuse me. Getting over another cold. Everyone's got lots of colds this year. And then the other thing we've got at the back is we've got the quite a nice exhaust, so it needs a bit of fettling, I think, needs a bit of adjustment, but I'll brief Matt on that at some point. So we've had a good look over it. Well, Austin's had a good look over this car this week, but my job is to actually have a look over the car and yeah, bring you some footage. So I'm going to open the bonnet and just show you under there now. So hopefully a familiar sight to viewers of my channel. So yeah, we don't often look at 1.4 K-series powered cars, but we have got the 1.4 here. Now this one has got an Ed K remap, so I don't know what it's putting out. I don't think Matt's had it dynoed or rolling roaded, but it's certainly more rorty than a standard excuse me, Streetwise engine. So they're about 103 horsepower. This one's probably, I would guess, 110, 115, something like that. And you can, with a 1.4 unit, and I will show you a car that's about 135 brake horsepower from a 1.4, hopefully sometime in the summer. So yeah, so here's our unit. We've got typical engine bay layout. So we've got expansion tank over there, battery there, ABS pump, fuses. We've got a standard air housing. Well, I think I've spotted a K&N type thing in there. The Matt's going to fit. We've got a bit of a different manifold going on because it's got a modified exhaust. What's that? Screen wash, power steering, brake servo, reservoir, windscreen off motor, fuel filter over there, and then we've got our engine. So yeah, you can remap these. It's something that people think you can't do, but you can remap a later K-series 1.4. If you want to get more power, then you've got to start doing things like changing the cams to MGTF 135 cams. So they're off a 1.8 engine, but those cams will slot into 1.4 and give you a bit more lift on the valves, and therefore a bit more power. And of course you can do things like polishing, porting the head, and lightening the flywheel, and maybe upgrading to a PG1 gearbox, because of course this being a 1.4 has got the IB5, which is I think a Peugeot derived gearbox unit. But yeah, but you can put the PG1 on. You can do a lot with these engines. So yeah, the 1.4, cheaper on insurance, but still eminently tunable and masses of fun. So what we'll do is we'll grab the camera, we'll have a little quick refresh of what a Streetwise, or to be honest, a Mark II ZR or 25 looks like inside, and then we shall get out for a spin. So inside the car, these are TT air vents, aren't they? Tell me the thickness of the plastic. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Matt's done the TT air vents. We've got our mirror controls and headlight alignment here. Your keys down here. Steering wheel, this is the standard, actually very nice steering wheel. Common mod is to put an MGTF steering wheel on. Bit smaller, bit sportier looking, full leather. You obviously lose your remote for the radio if you do that, although most cars have got aftermarket radios now and these remotes don't work. Stalks are in the usual place. Headlights are on the stalks on these, and then you've got the centre console. This is the Mark II dash, so the Mark 1 is completely different. You'll see that when I get Bram back on the road fairly soon. We've got aftermarket stereo, heating controls, rear fogs, front fogs, recirculate aircon, rear screen, locks. You've got an unlock and lock button, hazard warnings, IB5 gear selector, handbrake, and the electric windows down there. And in the back, of course, we've got our 2 seats with the kind of centre bit, which is all covered up by various bits and bobs. That's the refreshments at the inside. Let's take it for a drive. So this car does sound nice when it cranks over. Let's just start it up. You probably can't pick it up that well, but it's got a nice, real nice little note with that tweaked exhaust and the remap. So let's give it a bit of a drive around the estate. You know it's a K series. Listen to that. Real raspy from the exhaust, but it could be no other car than a K series making that noise. So a good turning circle. The addendums, what the addendums do, the 17-inch wheels, is it just gives you a much more comfortable ride. Now these are raised up by about, I think it's 45mm over a standard 25. Oh, I just love K-series engines. They get such a bad rep, but I've been driving this car for about 20 minutes, so it's nice and warm. Do not jump in a K-series powered car and rev the nuts off it straight away. That you can kick, if a 1.4 is well maintained, you can absolutely kick their heads in, but you've got to get the car warm first, so the oil's nice and warm, the coolant's up to temperature, and then you can have a lot of fun in them. They're revvy. Listen to this. Revvy little engines. That exhaust is sort of rasping at various points throughout the rev range, and it's just lovely. I'm up at 60 pretty quickly. Yeah, this has got a lot more legs than a standard 1.4. That remap is, it is spot on. Yeah, this is absolutely lovely. It's been a while since I've driven an R3 because, of course, something's moved in the back there. Because, of course, Bram's off the road, my ZR's off the road because that's tucked away for the winter. And I haven't driven an R3 for quite some time. Do another turning circle test. How does that feel? That's pretty good. That engine sounds sweet. So this has got fresh oil and filter. It was a bit hesitant to kind of do anything last week, but just the key thing when you're servicing a K series, absolutely key thing, is do not put a cheap oil in like triple QX. You've got to use the correct oil, which is Mobil Super. I think it's either 2,000 or 3,000 on a K series. That is the only oil to put in one of these cars. If you can get a genuine MG Rover oil filter, they're the spin-on type, get it, because that, again, using the correct parts is exactly what you should do. Oh, this is lovely. It's a nice driving. I've not adjusted the seat. I'm guessing this is Austin's driving position. I can't see Matt getting his legs in the way it is, but Matt's about 6'7", so. But yeah, it's such a nice driving position. The steering wheel feels nice. I'm doing another turn. I'm gonna. There will be some other shots spliced in, but yeah, it's just so nice to drive this car. I've actually been driving it around the estate quite a lot. It hasn't got an MOT. It's MOT ready, but it hasn't got an MOT yet. So that's why we're on a private estate this morning rather than breaking the law and getting it on the road. But it's so much fun. Really, really nice. Really nice. And it's handling nicely. Corners nicely. The grip with these new tyres is superb. Let's give a bit of a weave there just to see how it feels. Yeah, if you want a cheap to insure, reasonable to tax second car or a daily, people do use plenty of these dailies. There's a silver one driven by a young lady between Tame and Aylesbury. You know, she's driving that car every day. I see it quite a lot when I'm off on my travels. You know, get one. At the moment they're really, really cheap. Just do some checks though. Check the service history. If it hasn't got a service history, you know, absolutely get that car serviced straight away. Look for when the head gasket was done and by whom. If there's a receipt for that and it's, you know, it's good, then all the better. But you can get the head gaskets quite easy to do on the 1.4s. You haven't got the VVC mech because you've only got the one timing belt rather than the 3 you have on the VVCs. Check when the timing belt's been done. It should be done at 60,000 miles or every 6 years. If there's no paperwork for that, try and knock the seller down, because you're going to have to pay upwards of 500 quid to get all that done. So just do your checks. It's really, really important. You can do the cam belts on these yourselves. They are, the VVC ones are a bit harder because you've got the other belts driving the VVC mech. But on the 1.4s, it is quite easy. You can have fun with them, you can tune them. Conclusion is, if you can find one, get one. Thank you for watching this episode of Beards and Bangers. If you don't already do so, hit that subscribe button and bell notification. Give us a thumbs up, drop a comment down below, and please share this video with your friends if you think they'd enjoy it. I'll see you again very soon on the next episode of Beards and Bangers. Goodbye.